I don't think there is any doubt about Hoca Efendi's patriotism. He makes this very clear in one of his books, The Statue of Our Souls. He sees not that Turkey has to be a Muslim country or a totally secular country. He wants the best for that country and then for the world. I think that he is a gentle person who does not have a political agenda at all. That Hizmet stands out among the different religious organizations that I know. It seems to me that the image of Islam that is presented by Spectrum. I'm Dr. Walter Wagner. I'm an adjunct professor at Moravian Theological Seminary in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and also an adjunct professor at the Lutheran Theological Seminary in Philadelphia. I am a Christian. I am a Christian clergy person, and I have been teaching in the area of Islamic studies for only 25 years. Otherwise, I have been teaching in history and biblical studies as well. Dialogue is critically important. There are, at Temple University, for example, one of the major professors at Temple University, Leonard Switler, has drawn up what is called the 10 Commandments of Dialogue, the Dialogue Decalogue that he has had. I use this. I teach a course on Christianity and Islam in confrontation and dialogue, where we deal with the past and the present. And then even the course, we have dialogue, we work with the Dialogue Center. The class is constituted as a dialogue class. It becomes so very important that we understand each other in that hushguru understanding of trying to step into each other's shoes. But dialogue is not just talk. It is action. It is action where we have to know who we are in our own religious communities. I have become, I think, a better Christian or a more committed Christian as a result of having dialogue with members of Hizmet and following some of Hoca Efendi's ideas with it. That in the dialogue, we then become committed to working together in our society, to work together for education, for working with homeless persons, the hungry, with school situations as well, when situations of misunderstanding will develop. We have even started living room dialogue groups where Muslims and Christians will come together and speak with each other. The religions, maybe put it this way, religions don't dialogue. People dialogue. And as a result of this, we begin the process of healing, a healing process in which can then say, what can we do together, as well as what can't we do together? So we will respect our differences and recognize both the limitation and the opportunity. Education is one of the major, and the first, maybe education runs all the way through the remedies that for the poisons in the society of ignorance, poverty, and division. It all hinges on education. So that, as I understand Hizmet, that Hizmet's engagement is not to build mosques, not to build midrasa, mosque schools. Others can do that. Others can do that. But Hizmet's mission is really to begin to work at the very basis with children, to work with children, to build up from the very foundations, so that working with children to bring the best in reason and science together with ethics, with moral commitment. When we can have that, then we can, I think, as Hajj Effendi has put it, a golden generation that will be helpful to the rest of the world. I think it is important that Hizmet also is active in social service areas, disaster relief as Kimse Yokmu. I have been to the Kimse Yokmu in Istanbul twice and have seen portions of what they do and the presentation that has been made. In the first trip we took, one of the couples who was in the group worked with Amnesty International and even had been to Darfur. And they recognized the role of Kimse Yokmu and other the groups that were there to help with refugees and with food, that they had already known something about Kimse Yokmu. Speaking at Shifa Hospital in Izmir, where the medical director of the hospital, I believe he is a pediatric orthopedist, children, bones, who, when he heard of the earthquake in Haiti, in the Caribbean, in the Gulf of Mexico, when there was this terrible earthquake several years ago, he packed up and went on his own with some staff members. He had felt that God was calling him, and he was right. There at his own expense, and with those others, to volunteer to do this. For Muslim persons to do this in an area where they're not out to make converts. What they are out to do is to serve humanity. To see this again and again in Afghanistan, where there have been terrible earthquakes again, the development for immediate relief. I am a Lutheran. We have a Lutheran World Federation, Lutheran World Action, along with the Catholics, Caritas, excellent disaster relief programs. It is a sheer joy to know that side by side with Christian organizations, side by side with them, there will also be Muslim organizations as well. I think that's very important, that we share humanity's concerns and needs together. We all have blood and flesh which need to be ministered to. I understand that there are criticisms both of Hajj Effendi and of Hizmet. I try to keep up with affairs in Turkey, try to read some of the online newspapers as well as my students keep me up on it somewhat. I know of the criticisms, or at least some of the garish criticisms that have been made, and also that have been picked up even in the United States. I read not only the New York Times, but also several periodicals in which the situation in Turkey is discussed. It seems to me that any person who is influential, any person and any organization is bound to have other people be suspicious of them. One of Hoca Efendi's key positions is what he calls altruism. At least that's the English translation of it. I don't know what it would be in Turkish. And that would mean a generosity of spirit that is willing to work without strings attached, maybe the American understanding, without asking for a reward or without asking for conditions that I do it so you can do something for me. It is very difficult for Westerners, and maybe for people elsewhere in the world, to think altruistically. We sometimes think there's got to be a hook somewhere, that why is he doing this? I have looked for the hooks. I have looked to see where the strings are, and I haven't found any. If only what I would find would be, why don't you try to have a better view of humanity? In the case of the present situation in Turkey, my students, and I know in the community, in the Turkish community, there is a sense of, how should I put it, a sense of patience. The persons I know, Turkish persons I know, and I know a fair number, are all lovers of the homeland. They love their country. They are very proud of their country and the progress that the country has made. They see themselves as good ambassadors of what it means to be Turkish. There is no doubt about their patriotism. I don't think there is any doubt about Hoca Efendi's patriotism. He makes this very clear in one of his books, The Statue of Our Souls. He sees not that Turkey has to be a Muslim country or a totally secular country. He wants the best for that country and then for the world. I think that he is a gentle person who does not have a political agenda at all. This may bewilder some. It may bewilder others who think that they have to have an opponent and perhaps have to have a target to make that opposition. I think that the Turkish people have good common sense, and that they will rectify whatever the situations may be and whatever direction Turkey may face. I think it will be a good direction if it keeps its respect for Hoca Efendi and for Hizmet. Within the Hizmet movement, there is a lack of wanting vengeance for the past or aggression in the present. It is a peaceful movement, and that becomes very important witness to our American society.
The Hizmet movement represents a stark alternative to the stereotypes that often circulate about Islam. Hizmet means service. And the individuals who are inspired by the teachings of Hoca Efendi, Fethullah Gulen, are dedicated to living a life of service.